Good job. So here we close the gap so quickly, right? And she's not even barking at all. She usually barks a lot when she sees another pup to get to them. Ah, she's doing good. Good girl. The main. Good girl. There you go. Now she's interested in her. Oh, we're gonna get wrapped up here. Let's go this way. This is just a 30-foot. I used to work.
Just a 30?
Yeah, I used to work with like a 50 and 100, but they always get tangled up too easily. Yeah. There you go. Oh, good girl. Look at that. Hi. She did good.
Hi, sweetie.
Oh.
Y'all fast.
I gotta get her some boots and stuff.
You know, she should be kind of settled down. And then I didn't realize she was 2. I was like, you're basically a puppy.
Pretty much. At least Obi's got a good friend to play with. And yeah, their play is perfectly fine.
It's fine, okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about that.
Aww. Obi, you know not to go down there. Get over here. Obi.
Oh, go get her. Like she's trying to get her to play. Oh,
yes.
There you go.
She loves to be chased.
She does.
She's like, chase me, please. Come chase me.
Murph is like, I will slowly chase
no.
you. She's so cute. All right. So we're going to be out with Miss Murph here working on a few things. I've got a head halter on her, and you want to make sure that it is fitted properly so that it's not so tight that it is closing her jaw and she can't drink and take treats. But at the same time, you don't want it too loose that it's just easily falling off, and she can brush it off on her own. So you can see here, got a good bit of leeway. It's not pressing into her eyes, and we have it connected down here. You can see here down here to the harness, and that'll help with turning her. The way I like to start, especially pups that aren't used to a head harness, is connecting it either to a harness or a collar themselves. So that way, this way, good girl. So that way they can actually get used to being turned by it and it not being too uncomfortable for them while they're getting used to new things. And there's just a pup down there, so that's why she started barking. Murph. Oh, good. Listen. Very good. Okay. So that's always going to be stage 1, especially when you're practicing and warming up. Good girl. See, that time she saw the pup, she made a noise, but then she turned to me on her own without being prompted, so I'm going to go ahead and reward that too. Okay. So the first thing is we have the harness, the head halter to help with turning, and also I have on her a GPS tracking device, so that way we can make a beeping sound and a vibration. So instead of having it on her collar, I have it on her, good girl, come here. I actually have it on her harness, so that way it's a little bit less sensitive for her, right? And I also have it set up behind her, so hopefully that way when the sound triggers, it'll also help to kind of turn her around, and we want to connect that to her recall. Okay, so kind of doing a lot all in one stroke, but it's because she did really well this morning. The harness, unfortunately, doesn't fit her perfectly, just because it's too loose in the front, and that's why you can kind of see it's sliding off to one side. We'll try to find something else, and maybe, like I said, an easy walk, because the easy walk can also attach to the front, which it normally does anyways, to help with navigating left and right. And we can always combine that or separately use it with the head halter too. Okay. Another thing is I have her on a freedom leash. You just want to be really careful when you're using these things, because a lot of people tend to get rope burn because they panic and grab the rope as the dog is running out and the rope is extending. They try to pull them back in. Okay? You want to get really comfortable in using the Freedom Leash appropriately with its locking commands, and also knowing how to reel them in. Oh, good girl. But the reason why we have her on the longer leash is so that way we can practice this recall. I don't want the leash pressure being a factor unless I want it to be a factor, right? In which case then I can just press the button to stop the leash from continuing to extend. But this will just give us more than our usual 4 to 6 foot range before it gets tight. You can tell she's trying to go to the bathroom and is too excited. And give her a second here. Okay. But we generally want to try to do things in a certain order, so that way they get conditioned, right? They not only have a chance to appropriately respond to the easiest thing, but then if we're consistent in escalating what we do next after that, then it'll also persuade them to have some sort of negative consequence too, if they don't comply within the first couple stages, right? So what I mean by that is, with pups, usually, good girl, come. She just hit the leash pressure, so I'm trying to get her to recall back here. So first off is going to be her name or the leash pressure. Okay? And then secondly is going to be any additional pressure. So extra pulling, another call of her name. Then the third would be, for her case here, the tone, because she really responds well to the beep. And then at most the vibrate after that. But we've been just sticking with the tone for now, just to help build a good positive relationship with it, since it is enough to help make an impact when we need it. So there's no need for it to be like a consequence or anything negative, right? If we are able to get her attention and she refocuses on us, then we're able to kind of build a really good positive association and connection with that, and we don't really need a consequence or follow-up for anything. All right, good girl. She's actually doing pretty well on the head halter too. Most pups will start like trying to paw it off or anything when they first have it on. I think being outdoors with all the smells can definitely help her in this situation also. So the trick to, good girl, good potty. The trick to positive reinforcement and conditioning is just doing something over and over again, right? But trying your best to control certain variables to make sure that that's what she's being conditioned for. Okay? And you want your timing to be as crisp as possible, and you want to make sure that you have a reward for them that they, appreciate and look forward to and want to work for. So first things first is going to be just kind of letting her build some distance away. And we're going to practice with her name. Oh, good girl. So we're going to let her walk away a little bit. Good girl. Well, I would, but she's sticking with me. So I'm going to go ahead and reward her for that. Good girl. Okay, go. You want to try to do your best to reward the behaviors that you want her to keep, right? And either discourage or ignore the behaviors that you want her to lose. So here, now that she's kind of following her nose, she's a little bit up there, but I have no tension on the leash. Oh, good girl. I was going to call her name, but she stopped and paid attention on her own. Oh, here we go. Oh, there we go. Good. So now that she's distracted, oh, okay. She's getting to that point where she's checking back in on her own, so it makes it a little bit harder to recall her. That's okay. She's been doing really good with her practices. All right, let's try this again. So we want her to get distracted, be a little bit further ahead than us, And we're going to use her name to get her attention and recall her back in. Murph. Oh, good girl. Good job. Good girl. All right. So immediately you can see there that she heard the sound that we want associated with her name. She came back, and as soon as she turned around, I let her know that she was already starting to do the right thing. And then as soon as she got all the way back to me is when I gave her that praise and that reward. Good girl. All right, we'll do that a couple more times. And then I'll show you what it'll look like with her collar with the beep, and then also with the leash pressure. And we're just going to be practicing and cycling through all of those different methods. Of course, the one that we want to be of the highest priority and the most condition is just her name, just in case she doesn't have the leash on, so you can't use leash pressure, just in case you don't have a collar on her or it ran out of battery. At most, or at least, we want her to have a well-conditioned response to her name and coming back to us and or refocusing. Murph. Oh, good girl. Very good. That's a good girl. All right. So now that we've done that a couple times, what I'll do this time is we'll associate leash pressure with coming back. So I'll let her go up ahead and then I'll press. Yes, good girl. And as soon as she feels that tug and redirects and comes back, I positively mark that by, letting her know that she just did a good thing, calling her a good girl, being excited. And then when she comes all the way back is when she gets a reward. Yes, good girl. And if she wants to stay and hang out with me and check in with me, then she'll get a reward in this little box here, like that heel area. Okay, so no pressuring her into it, guiding her, and then rewarding her when she's close to me. And then she'll condition her response on her own. So we'll do it one more time with the leash pressure. Yes, good girl. Good job. Good girl. All right. Now, it'll be a little bit more complicated. It should be easier for everybody else, but I have the leash in one hand, camera, and then my phone in another hand. Because what we'll want to do is open up my collar app here, and I want it to connect. And this tracking collar is good because it not only gives us the opportunity here, let me try to do a screen recording for us. How do I do that? Not disturb screen recorder. Okay. Start recording. All right, so what I'll do is I'll screen record this so that way you guys can see, but we have both a tone, a vibrate, a light, and a tracking feature. And all we're gonna be using, hopefully for her, is just the tone. So same thing as before, but when she gets further away, instead of using her name to get her attention or the leash pressure, I'm gonna be hitting the tone button and I'll have a reward ready. I'll try to here, a sec. I'll have a reward ready and praise ready for when she responds. And if she looks confused or anything because we haven't conditioned it, then we're gonna try to use her name or call her to come to us when she hears the tone. All right, so 3, 2, 1. Oh, good girl, come here. Very good, good girl, perfect. Good girl. Good. And you see, kind of see there, it was a little uncertain because this is going to be a new sound for her. But the same exact process when we're trying to positively condition a behavior. We make the sound or do the pressure. She redirects, we recall her back in, we mark the behavior, and we let her know that she's doing well, and we reward her, and then we'll repeat. So I'm going to go ahead and try to get another treat ready here. And you can always wean off the treats later, but especially at first when you're trying to build a good positive association and recondition new behaviors, it just helps to get the habit in with consistently rewarding her. So that way she's not wondering if she's going to get a reward for checking back in. She feels like she's definitely going to, and that just helps with that impulse, right? So 3, 2, 1. So you see how she thought about it, she heard it, but she kept going. Means that it's not conditioned yet. That's just fine. This is only the second time with this tone, and this makes a different tone than her regular one. So now we're going to try again. We got the distractions of the kids up there. And if she needs help, then after I notice that she is responding or hears the sound, then I'm going to help her with trying to call her to me. Okay? Good girl. So 3, 2, nope. She's doing too good of a job with following me and staying focused next to me. So we'll just keep walking until she gets a little distracted. Good girl. Okay. Now what I'm gonna do, since she's not really going too far ahead, is I'm gonna tone and then I'm gonna drop back to make it a little bit more impactful for her to follow. Yes, good girl. There we go. Perfect. Good. All right. Okay. Gonna go ahead and wait for a little bit. Get another treat ready and we'll try again here in a second. Good. So now she's getting distracted by her nose and going up a little bit. 3, 2, hi. Oh, good girl. She beat us to it. Go ahead and try again. And that's perfectly fine. I would reward that behavior too, just because she was aware enough to notice that I had stopped and she was checking back in on me, which was really good. So here we have a person coming up front, so this might actually help us with distractions. We'll see if she notices. There we go. And then 3, 2, 1. Come. Good girl, come. Yes, good girl. There you go. So she's definitely a little bit apprehensive still of the sound, but so long as we still, if we keep making it a positive association and a positive thing, then she can hopefully lose some of that apprehension. It just depends on how sensitive your pup is to sounds in the first place, as well as maybe some past experiences that they might have already built or associations that they may have had in the past with those kind of sounds. Okay, so we're going to try to do it a couple more times here. I don't want to get too far. 3, 2, 1. Yes, good girl. Good girl. Good job. You can see the level of apprehension with poor Miss Murph here, even with just the beep. It's not a very harsh beep too. It's more like a little ringtone that this device gives off, but it's still enough to kind of make her a little bit uneasy. You can tell the difference between that and like her name or the leash pressure, in which she kind of almost cheerfully responds right away. That's part of the reason why we're doing this exercise with her, is so that way we can still build a good positive association with maybe something she's had either an uncertainty of in the past or negative experiences of in the past, or she just has to get used to a new sound. So 3, 2, oh, almost. She noticed that I stopped walking. Yes, good girl. Perfect. Good girl. Yes, you're doing so good. Yes, you're a good girl. All right. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the screen recording. and give her a little break from the collar. And since it's such a nice day out, got plenty of treats. And this is something also you want to take your time with, right? Because the time in between her responding is actually really good for us. It's very beneficial because it gives her time to kind of get lost in her environment and her nose and what she's doing. I'm doing it more back to back just for this video recording. But after I stop, we'll probably walk around the entire neighborhood, a lap or two. Like I said, the weather is pretty nice. Don't want to tire her out too much, but give plenty of time in between each of those recall exercises, like her name, Murph. Oh, good girl. And then the leash pressure. And then finally a little bit more of the tone training. She's doing really well though. Go ahead and let her get hopefully further ahead here. And leash pressure, 3, 2, 1. Yes, good girl. Getting tired too. Good job. All right, and on this note, we'll go ahead and let her relax for a bit. And I'm gonna stop the recording. We're just gonna walk around. Sit. Good girl. Good job. And we'll keep practicing.